This is Mount Bora. Mount Bora is the highest peak in the state of Idaho. I had the opportunity years ago to climb this. In fact, I had an opportunity to climb it with a bunch of teenage boys, which was very, very challenging. It was cool though, the result of that. What I go about in my normal day, and I really want you to focus on this for yourself, your private experience. Is your private experience based on climbing the mountain? Is it based on climbing Mount Bora? Or is your private experience based upon whatever it takes to get there? And that's what I want to talk about today. I'm wired in such a way that climbing Mount Bora, while an accomplishment, while it's a great thing to be able to do, is not how I'm wired. I don't get psyched up for the event. The event is not what it's all about for me. For me, it's about the experience. It's about the journey. It's about all the things that it takes to actually get there. So that's why I started lifelong habits many, many years ago around health and fitness. Now, that allows me to be able to do things like climb Mount Bora. I didn't do any special training for that. I simply keep myself fit, and through that process of fitness, it allowed me to be able to climb Mount Bora. Now, it didn't mean that I wouldn't have had less pain when I was done had I properly prepared for a climb of that magnitude. The point is, I was able to do it. Right now, my wife and I are actually training for a hike that we have coming up in October. Now, that's climbing into and out of the Grand Canyon in one day. It'll be interesting. I'll take you along that journey with me, but what I'm going through right now, I am in the process of training. Now, my training today isn't to the extent it would have been had I not been constantly working to keep myself in shape. It's important, though, that because I know where I need to be, I need to work at that right now. So I want to give you an idea of how we prepare for the journey. The journey is what it's all about. The journey is what's going to create experiences for us. And when we think about our private experience is going to come down to how do we categorize or how do we determine what is result. And that result is really what we do inside of our heads. So I want to talk about today, are we really all about climbing the mountain? Are we really all about that result? Or do we go about the process of creating habits that lead us in the proper direction? It's so much easier in the private experience when we categorize the private experience on the little things that we do day to day to day that will get us there. If you haven't read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, it's a great way to begin to approach how we go about setting habits. In that book, Clear talks about the 4 things that create habitual behavior: cue, craving, response, reward. Those 4 things are the things that Clear talks about that we have to do to get ourselves in a routine of habit. Okay? Cue meaning what signals or triggers your brain to say, yep, this is the habit. Craving is the motivation behind the habit. Response is the habit itself, or what it is we actually want to do. And then reward is what we feel for having done so. If you, for example, want to set a habit of going for a walk every single day, what's the cue that's going to trigger your brain to go do that? What's the craving? What's the motivation behind actually taking that walk? What's the response, or what action are you going to take? And then how did you feel when you finished doing that? Now, for me, these are very patterned things. For you, you may have to work at it. For my wife right now, she's actually more motivated by the climb. She's more motivated by Mount Bora. She sees, the Grand Canyon is coming up. It's this far away. I have to do this. So she constantly has that picture in her head. And so what's going to happen after the climb, that's what's really going to be important. For her, it's keeping one thing next, one thing next, one thing next. That's what keeps her motivated. That's what keeps her juiced. That's what keeps her moving. However you want to train your head, but believe me, this is a training process. Don't kid yourself for a moment. It's the private experience. The experience you have with yourself is absolutely a training process. However you train yourself, however you train your mind to have that private experience, it will. You're more likely to be fulfilled on a daily or regular basis by maintaining those regular habits than by always looking for what's next. Thank you for being with me on the Primacy Podcast. I look forward to seeing your comments. Thank you so much for being with me. I'll catch you on the next Primacy Podcast.